I am pleased to present my research findings for The Other Black Vote, Securing the Vote for the African American Republican. This practicum presentation will go over the concept of how this research came into play for me and some of the results that I found during the research and some of the next steps that I recommend. The current state of politics has African Americans as a monolithic voting bloc. Historically, African Americans have voted Democratic, but the Democratic position has not always represented the values and the needs and concerns of the African American community. Another thing that brought me to this research topic was that there are many African Americans who hold conservative values that more closely align with the Republican Party more than the Democratic Party, and that many of the African American current politicians are inactive in current states of affairs that are of concern to Black America, particularly Black Lives Matters, sentencing reform for prison incarceration, those sort of things that are particular to the African American community. We have had many years of some representation in state, local, and now in national politics, but many in the African American community are disappointed that the president and others in Congress, Senate, and again in local positions have not done more to reform policies that are inflicting pain and causing strife within the African American community. I came to this research topic because I have a client who is interested in running for a position here in the state of Georgia, and he would be running against a well known civil rights icon. He is a Republican. He has very conservative values when it comes to family and community. He is a husband, a father of three. He attended a historically black college and university. He belongs to a Black Greek letter organization. He has a military background. He is a activist. He has participated in Black Lives Matter protests as well as other grassroots organizations here in the state of Georgia, and he has over 20 years experience in corporate America. And when he presented to me his qualifications, it was very hard for me to say that he would not make a good candidate. As many know, there is a large African American population within the city of Atlanta and surrounding counties, but we have historically been a Democratic area, and a lot of that comes from support of civil rights icons that have led African American community into great achievement, but may not be the best representation for us going forward. So, as we sat and talked, we looked at the demographic of voters in the state of Georgia and recognized that it would be hard to change the minds of older African American Democrats in the area. They are staunch Democratic supporters. Um, they are loyal to the civil rights icons that hold the positions in the state of Georgia, and the amount of effort and money it would take to change their minds about voting for or re-electing those officials would not be worth it. He would pretty much be in a losing battle. The analysis showed that the millennials are the largest voting bloc, and there are a number of historically black colleges and universities in the state of Georgia. So that means that we have a ripe pool of African American millennials to persuade. And understanding that people usually inherit their political views from their parents, what we're seeing is a shift in the younger generation to not necessarily agree with their parents on matters of Black Lives Matter or sentencing reform. There is an eager millennial group to see change that will affect the African American community more so than the older African Americans, especially here in the state of Georgia. So we asked a number of research questions in a survey. The survey was open to all millennials, regardless of ethnicity, but wanted to run a couple of cross tabulations between African Americans and non-African Americans that responded to the survey. In particular, we were looking for an opportunity to create a profile that we felt like millennials would support, that we could put a communication strategy around the candidate as opposed to the Republican Party. There are many misgivings with the Republican Party. There are also many stereotypes that come with the Republican Party, such as many in the Republican Party being racist. And that may very well be true, but we wanted to see if there was an opportunity to align the candidate with Republican values that also hold true to African American community values and was a supporter of African American community issues. So, a list that we have here, as you can see, are just some of the things that we were looking for in the survey. We surrounded the survey with other beliefs and habits, as well as other opportunities to gauge what is important to millennials. The second part of the research question was to confirm or deny that African American millennials do not need a race neutral candidate. If you think back to the first slide, race neutral candidate are African American candidates who expound views that are general in their nature and do not take a stand particular to African American community issues such as Black Lives Matters. Most African American politicians, whether they be in the Republican field, try to stay neutral. Even our current president, Barack Obama, until the past 18 months, has felt very neutral or has had a position of neutrality when it comes to issues, particularly in the African American community. And he never ran on any issues of civil rights. He never ran on any issues of paying close attention to incarceration rates or sentencing reform. The finding of the results was quite interesting. Out of the different points that we posed to millennials about creating a profile that would fit a candidate that they would support, the majority of the issues and ideas they agreed with or strongly agreed with in our survey. Particular two issues that were not as of concern to this group was that the candidate attended a historically black college or university, or that the candidate held the same religious beliefs. Um, One thing that we wanted to make sure was important to the millennial was that the candidate verbally and in policy supported issues that were of matters to the African American community, and that was a resounding agreed or strongly agreed from the population that was surveyed.